Okay, I accidentally cut that short. Give me a second. Okay, no, never mind. Because when I added all of the numbers up, I know it looks a bit messy now, but this number, this number, this number, this number, and the equivalent ones. So when I say equivalent ones, the ones that make also part of that infinity sign, and that's equal to 36. And that isn't really an ellipse. Wow. That is so interesting. I found the formula ellipse. So we've got the circle. And remember those, this is what it looks like. I went to draw it out. Oh, excuse me. Ellipses. Ellipses is like the 3 dots of silence. Differential equation, something about that. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, because in this picture, and I know that they're just pictures on the cover, for example, but it's got a drop meeting a body of water, our oceans of emotions. And the X symbolizing the intersection between two people. Because yeah, because even in this, there is also an intersection in the middle. Now, the distance between F2 sorry. The difference between F2 and F1 is basically the distance between one person. You know, when I was mentioning crossing paths, if someone is coming from here, it's like, nope, I want to go this way, and I want to go this way, but I kind of want to go in there. Or it's like, oh, I want to go here, and I think I want to go straight. And if somebody on this side is like, yeah, I think I want to go this way too, they'll meet in the middle. So the distance here and here, so F1 between this point and F2, the other person. So F2 is the other person and F1 is, let's say, you. The distance between you guys meeting, so the distance that both of you guys have before you guys reach the center, which is the intersection, which is the merging, which is the of like realities, and they merge, and then it's like, whoa. That distance between F1 and the center, or F2 and the center, is C. Now the distance between this point and this point is A. This is really crazy because it's making me think, like, if people can calculate this, if people can calculate where you're gonna be in what multi-dimension, they know where you are, how fast you're moving towards meeting each other, towards connecting to this person. Because you can also, I mean, the fact that 2 points, F1 and F2, decide to both take the same decision to, you know, do something, that's how they meet. They also say that you're destined to meet them. Are we destined because we've already met them before? Like, we're talking about the world and our subconscious thoughts, and how essentially we are connected to every multi-dimension, to every timeline, to a lot of people and their multi-dimensional timelines and things like that. Because they also say that aren't other people a reflection of ourselves? They also say that in our subconscious, or our subconscious only knows us. Our subconscious, that's what people say, right? But our subconscious only knows us or recognizes us, and does not also see all these other physical people around. So that's really interesting. Okay, ellipse. That ... of like, when is it gonna happen? The fact that there are 3 dots there, and ellipses is 3 dots. Ellipses waiting until that moment when they all become one. Because essentially, if you just do this, those dots become one singular dot. You become one. My song. Don't be so silly. I'll forgive you and I'll forgive me. Come and sit with me. You know, if somebody finally sits next to you, finally the distance between you guys, A and C, is nothing. Sit with me. Together, one we shall be. It's the realization that we are all one, baby. It's the realization that no matter, I don't know, what was I gonna say? No matter what, we are all also just one person. And in a way, the people that we meet, the people that we see, you know, the situations that we're in, also in a way reflect either different parts of our parallel lives or ourselves, because also certain things also live inside of us, okay? Certain things that we can awaken. That's why we started this with nuclear bombs, nuclei, DNA, information in our DNA that also knows this. So I'm just saying, dude, you might be F1 or they might be F2. And I know that that was a really long way to describe that this person is coming towards you. Remember this person from the other reading, okay? And I know if this is a cross watch, I'm sorry about that. I talk a lot. I've got a lot to say apparently, and also not. And hence the length of the video. But you know, if you're here for that, I really appreciate it. And I think honestly I might just leave it like that. But also for some reason, yeah, I mean, I also wanted to show you this, okay? And I wanted to show you the resemblance of these two calculations here. The dot in the middle, the circularness here, and the dot in the middle of there as well. Okay. Realities. The dots in here. Realities, numbers. Terbium. Our mind's eye. Eye within a flower with so many layers. With terbium being here and like this drawing being a disc, and this person wearing a disc, like for some reason it made me think of those people who used to wear discs and say that the world is ending in movies. I don't know if that's even, no, I don't know if I'm remembering right, but something like that. Like they have something circular there, and it just reminds me of how, like it reminds me of projection. Okay, so DVDs, also projection. Terbium, the ability to retain information and to be able to project that in a particular way. So also on our laptops, also, yeah, the DVDs that we watch, but also our minds. Our minds are also like computers. So we're receiving all of this information with our eyeballs through light. And that's also a way for us to collect external information. Internal information happens when we close our eyes, and when, I don't know if you guys also have this, but your eyes roll back. You might also have this, like, I don't know if this is actually somebody or a type of person who is able to really be in between worlds. I'm not quite sure, because you can see the light underneath, and it's not forced. It's just if you look up, and if you're in a trance, you're looking up into your mind's eye. So also into this projection that your mind produces within your mind. So also your subconscious. So also your oceans of emotions of your subconscious, of the whole world, of the universe. Akashic records. Akasha. The vampire. The queen. Akasha. Because she, something like that. She is the first vampire, the oldest vampire. So there is a connection there between also our evolution. Wars that have destroyed knowledge, wars that have destroyed people, civilizations. So that connection between everything. Because Akasha, she's a vampire. Okay, so she's neither dead or alive. She's in between both worlds. She can take a life or give a life. Isn't that also like the way of the world? What we were also talking about. Life cycles. And because of that, and I know this is a bit gory and more specific right now, but blood, all of those proteins, all of that information, also inside, let me see, because I don't think hemoglobin, yes, of course, there are nuclei in your blood. All of this genetic information, do you think it goes away? Do you think it's not being, properly freaking... No, mate. Blood and the representation of her... if you take a moment to think about it, you're taking in all of this knowledge that that person has accumulated in their life, in their past lives, in their oceans of emotions and all of that. Somebody and it puts it in their body. And then it becomes theirs. And not theirs like mine. No. It's like what I was mentioning earlier when I saw a drawing. We can even find it. You know, as I was looking at ellipse, please go back. I want to find the picture with the droplet that joins into everything. Orivai. Orivai. Porra ba. I'm sorry for swearing. Baby. Will they show it to me? But it's not, it's like, it's also not really that important because you also understand, right? Like a droplet merging back into a whole body of water. It's like returning. I was gonna say returning to Mother Earth, Mother Gaia. And you know, this is also how certain traumas get passed as well, right? Certain fears that also might not make sense in your reality, but you could have accidentally shifted into a different timeline, and then, you know, you got that sort of, you know, convection. How heat can sort of emanate even outside of a ceramic glass or a boundary. How you can feel the heat even here, for example. How heat travels through things. It's sort of like, I feel like boundaries as well in the different, I was gonna say realms, but timelines as well, because it almost feels like they're in little capsules. I'm seeing bubbles. Bubbles. You know how when you make bubbles in water, like, and then bubbles, and then they're all like, oh, it's a very good example though, but like blueberries or berries like this, all of those bubbles and things, they're all coming from this one thing. Yeah, that's very interesting. And it's also very interesting because yesterday, okay, growing up, I've also been a really big fan of Enchantress. Enchantress, okay, in the Suicide Squad. So when Moon or Moon June, Dr. June Moon, she accidentally breaks open one of a very old relic, okay, in a temple somewhere that she accidentally fell into, that she was exploring, and then she gets possessed by Enchantress. And yeah, Enchantress has been alive for 6,000. Let's see if I can remember. 6,347 years. So she's been around for some time, right? So she's been around. And what I want to say with that is that she is also somebody who managed to keep old knowledge, old knowledge also meant the ability to be one with the universe itself. So you are also able to create on a greater scale in air. And people say thin air as if it doesn't contain anything, baby. Building blocks of life. Building blocks of life. Nitrogen. Through lightning. Atmospheric nitrogen, N2, gets to break down into a different form, later turning into ammonia. Ammonia being able to be taken up by plants. Who else produces ammonia? We do when we pee. Isn't that pretty cool? Like, imagine if we had lightning inside of our bodies that did that. What if, like, I know it's all a bit silly up here, alright? This is the Mad Hatter's fucking place, if you want to call it that. But just imagine, and it makes sense because, I mean, our nervous system, our heart, our energy, our electromagnetic pulses. Anyway, it was just a thought. What else did I want to say? What was I saying? Can you help me remind myself? We were talking about lightning and excuse me, nitrogen fixation and building blocks of life, all in the air. Thank you. But yeah, mate. The world just really is a whole bunch more, a whole bunch more connected than I guess what we're led to want to believe. It also just seems like a really deep knowing. Okay, so it's also the thing of like, if everybody knows that we're all connected, then obviously we don't have to be thinking about it so deeply, so heavily. Let's just get on with our lives. Let's just continue what we were doing, right? And honestly, that is what I'm going to do, darling. I feel like I've been talking for a long time, and I will return. Don't worry, I will return. But I will return with something beautiful. And all of a sudden, I'm just thinking about that Knight of Cups. I feel like I'm getting a whole bunch of chills too. I feel like I might be your Knight of Cups. I might be here to share something with you. Okay? For I am also a reader, a channeler, but also I'm a friend, a person, a human, a fellow citizen of this universe. And I have a message, and it will come soon. But in the meantime, I hope that this has somehow helped you with something, anything at all. And yeah, I love you very much. Love, universal love, is everywhere and within us. We are bodies that generate it. Now, if you think that your heart is broken, poisoned by betrayal, by injustice, you have the power to clear that out. You have the power to also acknowledge within yourself, I see you. Okay, I see you pain. I see you thing that is keeping my heart closed and things. But it's time to let go. And in letting go, we're also able to find ourselves, to be able to heal ourselves. Okay? in letting go of things, but also amidst that you're also emitting a whole bunch of love simply by choosing that, simply by wanting to release and to acknowledge and to be at peace. Because in that process you're also taking the time to look at where all of it is coming from. It's like a child who keeps nagging you, keeps pulling at your leg and being like, "Mommy, mom," and and then you finally look at her or him or you as a younger self and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Tell me what you need now." And they'll tell you. And then you normally know exactly what to do. And if not, you both will figure it out together, because both of you guys have fucking brains. You both have immense knowledge, power, even if they are a child. Especially when they're a child, because they have not been in this system. They have not been indoctrinated for years. Likely in their previous lives, maybe. But after returning back to the ocean of life, of everything, they also remember everything. You know how some children, and I know this is true, some children, they say things that don't make sense to their parents. And then their parents, depending on how they grow up, they will either listen, help, and bring this kid to whatever place that they're calling, or they can be like, "No, you're being ridiculous," or "No, that's not valid," or "No, I just had something. You might be someone who, as a kid, and because of your parents, and you guys like to travel, your father likes to travel, your parents like to travel, and they took you to different places and countries, and maybe you never really thought about why you were only particularly taken to particular countries. And there could be a whole bunch of reasons, there being cheap flights, or it being just a better option for you, or da. But it's also there to remember something. Because in those spaces of you also being a child and you having this, I'm just getting that. What's interesting is that in my mind just now, I just said that children don't remember a lot of their childhood, because a lot of their brain is still like in connected to the universe consciously, subconsciously, consciously, but merged. And I just saw something like that. And it's interesting now that I look at it, it kind of looked like a cross, don't it? In a picture that I once saw, okay, when I was also questioning certain things, I was doing research on the pineal gland. I wanted to find the pineal gland. I had done a bit research of it like a year ago or something like this. But then only that day I saw that it was connected or featured on an actual cross that a pope was holding. Right? But one of the fucked up things is that after noticing this, I was like, ain't that a bit, because it almost seems like a sacrifice. Why does it seem like a sacrifice to me that somebody's God consciousness was sacrificed? And like somehow integrated or bound because of this X, right? How we were also talking about the connections, interconnections, and overlapping and things. We don't always stay overlapped. We don't always stay connected. We also can move on. But there is always a moment when specific energies, okay, maybe not the same energies, of course. I wouldn't say of course. For some reason, I'm also thinking about like meeting your future self and things like this. That's another thing. Why do people say you can't meet your future self? Because otherwise, you know, that will break the way time works and stuff like that. But in some movies, you still have people meeting their higher selves or their older selves or their future selves. They're there to also assist the younger self. They're there to assist the younger self so the younger self can be the older self. But the older self needs the younger self to be able to have that so that they can be the older selves, and the older self knows that and sees a difference in things, in state of mind, in perceptions. It's why you might feel like a completely different other person than you ever thought that you would ever become, but at the same time you're still so you. But at the same time you are still that body that walked the whole path to becoming whoever you are now. But what I was saying, okay, this drawing here, this is what I saw. And Jesus was on the cross. And this is a pineal gland. And then, you know, the eggs was put in here, and this person was sacrificed for likely their pineal gland, for their ability to see beyond, to be so connected. Or this is a sacrifice to make, or a ritual to make. I'm seeing a pigeon. And pigeons also move their necks, and I just felt like I needed to move my neck there. Why? It's a bit odd to me, mate. Because in the story, I also know that Jesus, they say in his heart, he also was doing it for the benefit of everybody. I'm just getting some type of spell, some type of... Yeah. Nah, it's making me think of like sacrifices. You know how in those movies, like in The Lost City of Z, interesting that that's coming up now, but in The Lost City of Z, like, they also meet a tribe, and this tribe are cannibals. And these cannibals, they also sacrifice certain people if they notice something. Just like in Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, when when Jack Sparrow, when they had him with an eye here and drew him with all of these things because they thought that he was big brain. Very smart. Yes, very smart. And no knowledgeable and those things. I actually want to watch that again. I got chills again, so maybe it's something that you guys would want to watch as well, or something that you have watched and that's why it's coming up now. Thank you, by the way. I don't know, like synchronicities, okay? Yeah, and they, in the end, like, Sparrow was like, oh, I'm gonna be treated like a king and princess and stuff like that. Put me on a throne and things like this, and blah, 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 and I will talk a whole bunch of city things, and you'll be like, oh my god, like, wow. Gibberish. And it's just so interesting because when I sing in this particular language or something, it feels so much like I'm saying certain words backwards or restructured. And sometimes like editing softwares like CapCut, they can also analyze, of course, a voice and speech, and then they will try and match that with the language, and then they'll put captions. And sometimes, you know, even the thing, and I know that it's not always accurate, but sometimes it also just gives me words that when I read it, it makes sense to the sound that I'm making, but the way that I said it was not thinking about how it has to go from this way to this way and what letters go first. It was just sound. It was more just sound and feeling. And also the words that came out also seemed to make sense with the context of the song when it came to the way the song sounded. So also not necessarily like connected to the other phrases that I said. But anyways, it's just really interesting, and I think I'm gonna leave it there, guys, because whoa, I don't think you guys want to be seeing me. I don't think you guys want to be seeing me that often, eh? You know, I don't know. I hope my glasses made a good impression, though. But anyways, I wanted to say thank you so much for being here. Sorry. Sometimes. I wanted to say thank you so much for being here. Oh. And I hope, I don't know where all of this is going, mate. Okay, but if you want to stay tuned to see what happens after, what we discover in other readings, you're more than welcome. Okay, you're more than welcome. Please come, join come, call your friends. Not to laugh at me, of course, but if you're here to laugh at me, Epa, you know, I know I'm naturally funny. But yeah, okay, thank you so much, and I hope you have the most loveliest day, my darling. And yeah, stay tuned to either me coming in as a Knight of Cups or somebody else, somebody you were destined to meet, likely someone who, because they chose a particular path, you guys are destined to meet. Goodbye.